The things we forgot to thank. We don't usually lose the important things all at once. We lose them gradually by getting used to them. Tonight, the Lion's Tavern has appeared in Savannah, Georgia, where time moves a little slower and the air carries the weight of memory. Spanish moss sways overhead like the city itself is reminding you to look up. Alex mentioned it as soon as we arrived. Feels like a place that remembers, he said, setting a glass on the bar. Even when the people don't. I nodded. Savannah has a way of holding on to what matters, even when the people passing through forget to. And tonight, someone walked into the tavern who had forgotten more than he realized. He didn't come in angry. He didn't come in loud. Those are easy to spot. He came in tired, the kind of tired that doesn't come from work, but from living on autopilot. I don't know what's wrong, he said after a moment. Nothing's broken, nothing's missing, but everything feels flat. I poured his drink slowly and let him speak. He had a family, a career he'd worked hard for, a life that looked complete from the outside. I should be grateful, he said. I know that. That word should hung heavy between us. Gratitude doesn't disappear, I told him. It just goes quiet when familiarity takes over. Outside, Savannah breathed. Slow footsteps, distant laughter, cicadas humming like the city was alive and listening. Alex passed by, wiping down a table. People walk these streets every day, he said casually, and still miss how beautiful they are. The man stared into his glass. That's how it feels, he admitted, like I'm walking past my own life. I nodded. What you stop appreciating, I said, you start assuming will always be there. If this story feels uncomfortably familiar, if you've ever realized you're surrounded by good things and still feel empty, stay with me. This story isn't about guilt, it's about remembering. I began to tell him a story about another guest, another city, another night. But halfway through, I stopped. Let me pause here, I said. He looked up. Why? Because this is where people usually keep nodding instead of looking inward. Tell me, I asked gently, who in your life keeps showing up without being thanked? The tavern grew quiet, not uncomfortable, honest. Appreciation doesn't die because we're cruel. It fades because we're busy, distracted, certain we'll say it later. I leaned in slightly. Most people don't leave because they're unloved, I said. They leave because they feel unseen. Alex glanced towards the door, where Savannah's lamplight spilled across the floor. People stay where they feel noticed, he said softly. That was enough. I continued the story. I told him about a woman who once came into the tavern years ago. She didn't lose someone to betrayal or anger or tragedy. She lost him to silence. Years of routine, years of assuming, years of meaning to say thank you, I see you, you matter, but never quite finding the moment. By the time she noticed what she'd lost, I said, it wasn't because something dramatic happened. It was because the house felt quieter than it should have. Appreciation withheld doesn't just hurt the other person, it hollows us out too. Because gratitude reminds us why we chose this life in the first place. The man at the bar swallowed hard. I don't want to wake up one day and realize I missed it, he said. You already noticed, I replied. That's how you know it's not too late. Outside, the moss swayed again, patient, unbothered, still there. I didn't tell him to make grand gestures. Appreciation doesn't need speeches. It needs attention. Start small, I said. Notice one thing you've been walking past. A voice, a habit, a kindness you've stopped naming. He finished his drink in silence. Not heavy, intentional. Alex opened the door for him as he stood. Savannah has a way of slowing people down, Alex said, if you let it. The man nodded. I think I want to, he replied. He didn't leave transformed. He left aware. And that's how real change starts. After the door closed, the tavern felt warmer, not louder, just fuller. I wiped down the bar and listened to Savannah outside, the cicadas, the soft footsteps, the city remembering itself. Appreciation isn't about saying more, it's about seeing better. What you thank tends to stay. What you ignore slowly slips away. If you're listening to this and thinking of someone you've grown used to, someone whose presence you assume will always be there, don't wait for a perfect moment. Notice them now. Tonight, the Lion's Tavern rests in Savannah, Georgia, and for those willing to slow down long enough to see what they already have, there's always a seat waiting.